Welcome back. Episode 28 of Chico and the Grin. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm half your host, Chico, and I'm here with...
The Grin.
And we're back for another week. We really do appreciate you joining us every other week for a new episode. We know you have a lot of different things out there you can listen to.
But we don't post on time.
Correct. And I do want to go ahead and just apologize for episode 27 going up and then coming back down. I had to make an edit. I forgot to do that. But it's back up. You can listen to episode 27. I think you'll enjoy it. I had a good time ranting on it. And Grin and I both ranted on some shit on that one. Let us know what you think. ChicoandtheGrin@gmail.com. Write in. Tell us your feelings and emotions, and maybe we will share it with our viewership.
Yeah, reach out and contact us.
So this week we're going to be talking about a few things.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, we are a little light on... Yeah, we can.
Government.
We're a little light on subjects, but I think this is going to be good. I think we're going to be able to naturally flow between different topics. So... Today is Thursday, the 26th of July, and we are currently uptown in Inwood. As you all know, my neighborhood's very loud, so if you hear the sirens, it happens. All right? Get over it. Okay, so being white, free, and 21 years old.
Oh, I know where you're starting with.
For those who follow MMA or news in general, you may have noticed that a little while ago, Conor McGregor threw a hand truck at a busload of MMA fighters at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, shattering the window, injuring people, causing a whole thing of commotion. He was arrested. It was a whole big thing.
All on video.
The Notorious literally became the Notorious for a reason. His mugshot was put on T-shirts and sold.
It was?
Yeah. A buddy of mine actually made the shirt. Shout out to Alan. Who moved here? He's in Brooklyn. He's from California.
I would have bought one of those.
I could probably get you one if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably get you one. I don't have one because I'm not wearing it on his face. I'm not wearing his face on my shirt, but I can get you one if you want one. It's pretty dope.
Really?
I saw some dude randomly in the street wearing it. Yeah, it's pretty big. I saw it. I took a picture of it and I sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh, that's dope." But let me hit him. Let me hit him up. Let me see if
I didn't see that link.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull some strings and get you a shirt. But anyways, so he did that. He got arrested. He obviously got off on bail because he's rich as fuck. So he went to court yesterday or today.
I can't say for sure. I know it was recently because the article's been up. So I guess yesterday.
Yeah. He pled guilty. They dropped the charges. Don't know how anybody. And he was charged with assault, I believe.
12 counts.
12 counts of assault. So
it was 12 different charges.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Not sure about the rest of you folks, but I don't think there are many cases where somebody gets charged with 12 different things, pleads guilty, and then the judge goes, it's all right. We'll let you go this time with a warning. Do you...
Free, white, and 21.
The look that Grin just gave me was maybe the most sarcastic look I've ever seen. What do you think? What do you think, Smalls?
It's like I stopped liking McGregor after he made those comments during the Mayweather fight.
Oh, about the monkey thing?
Yeah, I just lost all respect for the dude at that point. But for him to go around and talk about he wants to be a gangster and all this stuff, and then, I don't know, I just don't like his image. That's just me, right? I don't know the guy. But for him to come over here to do this shit, act like a fool, cause some violence, hurt a few fighters that couldn't even fight that night.
Right, that car was crippled because of what he did.
You know,
it was really good.
And
really
this
good
dude gets off with a handshake. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
It's 100% bullshit. There's people who committed less crimes and they're doing serious time in prison, and this guy gets to walk away free.
It's all about
bullshit.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money and the color of your skin.
That too. That too. So we know that, especially in New York City, where, you know.
But I don't know. Maybe UFC got like the magical lawyer because look what they're doing for John Jones.
That is also true because he, by any other standard, would have been in jail for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe UFC just got like the super duper lawyers, man.
I think the UFC just has the best lawyers in every state on retainer.
It's like if you're a moneymaker, they'll take care of you.
Yeah, I mean, because it probably costs them less money to get him out of trouble than it does when he pulls in the pay-per-views.
But, you know, it's like that. The whole situation brings up a very good point. And I'm pretty sure I've said this before. I know I've said this to you on a personal level. And when it comes to anything in the legal system, it's all about the lawyer.
Yep.
Like, people need to shut up. Don't make a statement. Doesn't matter if they got video of you. Don't make a statement. talk to your lawyer first. Don't sign anything. And then you can get off too, just like Conor McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple system.
If there's one thing I've ever learned from watching Law & Order SVU,
Don't talk.
lawyer. 90% of the time, if they just say lawyer, they get away with it.
Tom Segura, right? He has a stand up where he's like he watches that show 48 Hours.
Yep, first 48.
Yeah, first 48. And it's funny because he's sitting there talking about it, and he's like, yeah, it's like they'll get these guys in there and they'll start questioning them about something. And he's like, the guys always crack under pressure. But then he's like, every now and then you got one person who would be like, lawyer. And that person will just skate away. He'll walk free without any problems. But the people who don't have a lawyer, they're always the ones quick to talk. And I'm like, yeah. It cracks me up sometimes when I watch a TV show and people know that they don't have anything on them. And they'll get cocky. And then they'll be like, oh, but we can convince a jury. And next thing you know, the person just start ranting and telling their whole life story. I'm like, what kind of shit is this, man? Like, don't talk to the police.
Never talk. It's for me, it seems simple. Like, you get arrested, you get taken, that they read your rights, they put you in the car, they take you down to wherever.
Yeah.
If they're going to question you, just all you got to say, I want my lawyer. Lawyer.
Yeah.
Where's my phone call? Although, you know what I think about a lot that frightens me? If I do get arrested, I don't have anybody's number memorized. So unless they let me take my phone out and look through my phone book to put in a fucking phone number, I don't know who the fuck am I going to call?
Yep.
So I always tell myself that, I'm like, I need to memorize at least one fucking phone number.
One number?
One number, memorize that shit just in case. Because if I get arrested and they're like, all right, here's your phone call. I'll be like, can I look through my phone? I don't know the phone number. I don't think that's going to happen.
I can tell you from personal experience, man, when you do get arrested, it's never as simple as just like, I want a lawyer. It's like they will do every trick in the book to fuck with your head and to get you to talk.
But what could they possibly do?
They could do a lot.
Like what?
Manipulation.
Lawyer. Whatever they say that comes out of their mouth, all you got to do is like, lawyer.
It's not that easy.
True. I mean, I've never been arrested, so I do not know. But I feel like whatever they do, assuming they're not beating the shit out of you.
That happens.
Which does happen, yes. But assuming they're just doing the regular questioning and they're doing the good cop, bad cop, they're doing the two bad cops, whatever they're doing, right? They got you sit down, they're asking you questions.
Fake documents.
Sure. I'm just like, shit. I'm like, oh, that's nice, lawyer. Like, whatever they put, that's nice, lawyer. I'll have my lawyer look at this document.
Yep. Don't sign anything, no agree to anything.
Just give him a call and let my lawyer deal with it. My lawyer will deal with it. Don't worry about it. Even my publicly appointed attorney.
They're not gonna deal with shit.
Well, at least having them in the room gives you something. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Never get a public defender.
Yeah. If you have to, yeah.
Those guys, they're overworked.
They don't give a shit.
They'll get your case like 10 minutes before your trial or whatever.
But how bad of a lawyer do you have to be a public defender? Like, do you have to be like the worst in your class to end up as a public defender?
I don't even know how that works.
Right? How does that work? Everybody,
I think they're good lawyers. I think.
But are they with a firm? Are they independent? How does that work?
Maybe they just wanted to. I mean, you have the legal system that wants to prosecute people, and you have the legal system that wants to defend people, right? So these people could be taking on pro bono cases. Maybe they got to do it for a certain number of hours. I don't know. Right. Maybe they just got to put in the work.
Sorry, do me a favor. Can you turn that AC off? The remote's right there. The white remote.
Oh my God, he has a remote for his fucking AC.
There we go. I was picking up a weird noise in the background.
Fancy pants.
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Excuse me, can you turn off the AC? The remote's right there.
Oh, the audio's so much better. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, could you just tell my robot to turn the AC off, please? Alexa, turn the AC off, please. Sorry. But sorry, yeah. So you have the two different judicial systems wanting to either prosecute or defend.
I think one of the main things I've learned growing up, it's like, yeah, when you're an adult, it's kind of easier to manage the legal system, like to ask for a lawyer when you don't have a record.
Right.
If you have a record, all that asking for a lawyer shit doesn't matter, because once you're not cooperating with the police, you're screwed. Because you're a felon, you're a criminal.
Right, but they can only do so much to you, even if you're a felon.
They can get away with a lot because you're a felon. Believe that.
Yeah.
You have a mark on your record, so anything you say doesn't matter, whether you're innocent or not. You're screwed. Once you're in the system, you're screwed. Period. It's like no matter what, you are guilty. So it's like me, when I have run-ins with the police, the one thing I've noticed is like, especially the ones who always run my name first. They always check for my ID first. Those guys always have a problem with it because they're the most aggressive people. They want to see, and this is just my logic on it. They want to see, okay, give me your ID. Like, for what? You don't even know what's going on. But I give my ID, and they run my name. My name comes back clean.
Yeah.
Right? But they're running my name to see if I have any priors, to see if I have a record. Because
Right.
if I have a record, they could fuck me up.
Yeah. They have a
And
reason.
they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Because they're police officers. And if I'm a felon and they fuck me up, it's going to be harder to prove. But if I'm a guy who doesn't have a record, right? I'm almost 40. I don't have a record, and I don't have like all this shit. Maybe I got an arrest or something, but I don't have any convictions, right? I don't have a criminal record. It's going to be hard for them to fuck with me. So that is an advantage. But once you're in the system, man, you're screwed. And it's like ask anybody who's ever been on parole. It's like, can't do shit. If the cops fuck with you, you can't do anything.
It's interesting you say that because I actually have an uncle who was in prison for 12 years.
Yeah.
Convicted felon in armed robbery. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this. Or even if he does, whatever. So I've seen how the lawyer thing works, especially somebody who goes to federal prison.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's for me, it's very interesting how that whole thing works while being somebody who doesn't have a record and then somebody who does have a record. I don't know. It's weird. I guess because I've never experienced it. Hopefully I'll never have to because that shit sounds scary as fuck.
Yeah, man.
The idea of being arrested and being taken to that place down on Center Street in Chinatown, the Central Booking.
Take it up here to the Tombs.
Definitely don't want to.
Yeah.
The Tombs? What do you mean the Tombs?
Yeah, it's up in Harlem. It's underground. That's why they call it the Tombs.
It's another holding facility?
Yeah, but it's underground. It's like subway level.
Oh.
There's a big building. I think it's on...
The one by 145th?
I think it's the one on 110th, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
Yeah, there's a big building all blacked out on 110th Street. And I'm like, I believe that's the place they call the Tombs.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it smells like in a New York City jail. Probably is not good.
I mean, I don't like to think about it. But when I do have run-ins with the law, I always think about, like, don't move, shut the fuck up, don't sign nothing, don't give a statement at all.
Those are probably good rules to live
If
by.
they ask you any questions, don't admit to anything. Even one cop asked me, he's like, "Do you understand what I'm?" Nope. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
He's like, "You don't understand why I pulled you out why I pulled you out the car?" I was like, "Nope. I was leaving. You pulled me out. I don't understand." And he just kept asking me. He kept saying stuff. And everything he asked me, I was like, "I do not understand." He was pissed because I wasn't cooperating. But at the same time, I was like, "I'm not agreeing to shit."
Yep.
You got my ID. You ran my name. Like, take me in. Take me in, or I'm going on my own way. Right. I remember one time I had cops, and this was like back when I was living in Texas. Doesn't make a difference, but still, it's when one day they stopped me one day, and then the next day they come to my apartment, like knock on the door, do. I'm like, what the fuck? they didn't even say, just walked right in
To your apartment?
Yeah,
They can't do that.
Oh shit!
They can't just walk into your
Well,
apartment.
they did.
I would have been like, you need to either show me a warrant or get out of my
Let
residence.
me tell you something, man. When you got police officers with guns on you,
Did they have them out?
no, but when they have guns,
Were they uniforms?
yeah, and when they have guns, and they're just in an inch of reaching for that weapon, you're gonna check your tone. You're gonna calm the fuck down.
This is the light skinned part of me coming up like, no,
Nah,
you need to
man.
get out.
Nah, man. It's like the one thing is like when someone has a weapon and you don't have a weapon, you always gotta remember with the police, it's always your word against theirs.
Wait a minute. So why did you even open the door?
I just opened the door because somebody knocked on my fucking door.
Oh, that's how I know you're not from New York.
Right.
That's how I know you're not from New York.
I'm not from. I said
That's how I fucking know.
So I'm just like, I open the door, and let me remind you. Back then, I wasn't running the streets or anything. I was just like,
Was
working.
this in New York or this
No,
is?
this was in Texas.
Oh, okay, all right.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I was just giving an example. But this is one of those times when it was just trippy. Oh, you know what? I got a time from when I was in New York. I was living in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. And I'm not saying like anything bad about the cops. I'm just giving up these examples of just like certain times when I had interactions with law enforcement, and I had to think about how I wanted to play it out.
Right.
I think a lot of times for me, when I see these videos, and I'll get back to the example of Brooklyn, but a lot of times when I see these videos online, my main reaction is, and I'm saying this doesn't apply to all the videos of police, right? Because some people are just murdered in cold blood. But a lot of times when I see the interactions with people, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know, just shut the fuck up. I saw one video of one guy. He fakes like he's having a heart attack, and the cop is just looking at him like, he's like, you're still going to jail. Yeah. He's like, you're still. And the guy was like, stop. He was like, it's ridiculous. He was overacting. And the camera was, whoever it was just recording it. And the cop was just like, I don't give a shit. You still going to jail. And the dude was like performing and all this shit. And it was like, dude, just shut the fuck up. You know, I like, for me, it's, the one thing I learned is like, always do your battles in court. It doesn't matter if you got to get arrested.
Yeah. It
doesn't matter what's going to go on. Shut the fuck up and battle it out in court. Because people think like they're going to talk the cop out of shit. The cop is like, nah. They're against you.
Yep.
Get arrested.
You're never going to out-reason a cop.
Yeah, don't give a statement. Don't sign anything. Get arrested. See the judge. Talk to her, either the public defendant or you get a lawyer. And talk then. That's when you talk during the trial. You don't talk to the fucking cop because they're going to try to use everything they can against you.
Everything. And
you're going to be like, oh, I didn't say that. Well, the cop said you said this shit. But if you don't say anything, they can't say you said anything. Like, I didn't say anything. I didn't sign anything. I didn't agree to anything. I didn't say okay. I didn't say yes. I didn't say anything. I shut the fuck up. So there was one time when I was living in Brooklyn in Bed-Stuy. I still don't know what happened because I even called my landlord and asked her what happened. So apparently they began complaints about me. And I'm like, really? It was a brownstone, only like 3 apartments.
I remember, yeah.
It was
I remember that
building.
place. Yeah.
And they were getting complaints about me. So, and this was funny because we had a door to the building, to the brownstone, and then a door to my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
They got into the building, and then they knocked on my door. And I'm just like it just tripped me out because there's only 3 people in the building, so who the fuck is knocking on my door? So I open it up, it's cops, right? Aggressive, like ready for war type shit. I'm just like, what's up, man? Right? Like, oh, we got a complaint, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, a complaint about what? Right? Like, what are you telling me here? Because he wasn't telling me anything. He's like, somebody called 311. We're coming to check it out. I'm like, but coming to check out what? Like, what do you what was the complaint?
Was it noise? Was it?
I asked him. I was like, what was the complaint? What was it? He was like, we don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? Some random complaint. Because I know when you call 311, they got to ask you why.
Why?
I was like, so it was back and forth like that. And I'm just like, cool. He's like, oh, let me see your ID. I was like, for what? He's like, I live here. He's like, yeah, but let me just see it. I was like, fine. Get my ID. Show him the ID. Again, run my name, nothing, right? So here's the funny part. So my neighbor, she comes out, and she's looking like, what the fuck is going on? Why are the cops in here? I'm like, I don't know. This dude's walking down the stairs. We're looking at him. He's like, y'all can go back inside. I was like, I'm at my door, man. Like, what are you talking about?
The cop told you that?
Yeah, and I'm just looking at him. He's like, go back inside. I'm just like, I live here. I don't have to go back inside. Like, what the like, I was just like, what? What kind of shit is that? Like,
that's NYPD for you.
He was walking down the stairs. Like, I'm just like, are you that butthurt that you got to say this shit to like try to exercise your authority?
Police have to try to flex on everybody.
I've had cops try to like get a rise out of me, man. And that's hilarious to an extent because it's just like, you really want me to fucking risk my life and do some shit? Like, they want a reason. I'm like, you have nothing on me. You're fucking with me for no reason, obviously. Like I said, I don't have a criminal record, and you're trying to like, oh, you want to, like, I don't want to hit you. I don't want to hit you.
They tried this. They said that.
They said that to me, man. And it's like dealing with them. I'm like, wow, you really got some fucking issues, man. Like, I think I got issues, but you got some fucking issues.
I think it's the personality type that's drawn to the job.
It's a power thing.
Well, it's 2 types of things. It's the people who are drawn to the job because they want the power, and then there's people who are drawn to the job because they want to help, but then the job fucks those people up. And then the people who want the power get fucked up even more than they're already fucked up, and then it's just a spiral down. Fucking, it's just, man, you can just get away with so much if you're a cop.
That's what I said.
And you're in a position like you, even if you make a mistake as a police officer, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Because it's not your problem. Once you book them, that's it.
Yep.
You walk away, you go home, and you deal. The system takes care of it, and you go on, and
they'll protect you.
Right. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if the person you arrested didn't do anything wrong. You've now ruined this person's night and probably the next couple months of their life, as they have to pay for a fucking attorney to fix all this shit, right? But it's no sweat off your back because you still get your taxpayer money salary.
Yep.
I don't even understand how that happens.
I've noticed two interactions with the police. As I said, it's the type of cop that just asks for my ID first, and then it's the type of cop who just talks. Like, tell me what's going on. Wait, what happened? That type of shit. Like, real calm, not aggressive. And then the other cop who's always like, show me some ID. That motherfucker's a dick. That person gonna fuck your life up.
I think they're both dicks.
I've had it come at me in those two ways. In all the cities I've lived in, it's always been those two types of encounters. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like, cool. But the one guy who's always just like ID first, above everything, I'm like, this is going to be a problem. Stay calm. Don't flex. Just relax.
Right.
Like when I was younger, cops were way more aggressive. Way fucking more aggressive, man. There'd be like a situation. I remember one time we were kids in a school bus, right? Rowdy kids, nothing big, and we're like throwing stuff outside the bus, right? Like little papers and shit.
Yeah.
Nothing major. And I remember one time, man, we were just throwing papers and stuff. Next thing you know, this bus, we get to we're coming from. This was when I lived in Vegas. We were coming from school, driving down. I think it was Maryland Parkway in Vegas. Driving down Maryland Parkway, going to like our neighborhood where the apartment complex was, and right before we get there to the bus stop to let us off, they pull us over to or I guess they radio in to the bus driver to pull over in a supermarket parking lot, right? Because it's big enough. Man, this bus was swarmed with fucking cops, all because we threw paper out of the window to some lady's car. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? It had just, the parking lot was filled with police officers. Like, and Vegas has gangs, so they have like, they get serious with, the police are serious out there, right? They got a hardcore, not this New York gang shit. They got hardcore Cali gangs out there.
Yeah.
So we're just like, what the fuck? Because it was some intense shit. So they pulled me and a couple other kids off the bus. Everybody snitches. They're like, yeah, it was like, fine, whatever. Slap, it's supposed to be like a slap on the wrist, not a big deal. These motherfuckers acting like we committed a felony or something, right? And it's just like junior high school. So then all the cops out there, they talking shit, threatening us and all this stuff. And I'm just like, what? It's mind blowing the amount of intensity that these grown ass men with weapons are putting on little kids. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, seriously. I'm like, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Sounds like it.
Like, I'm like, the way that they were acting towards us, I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. So after the whole situation, I guess they figured out, like, it's not that serious, right? So they give us all a citation. And then a truant officer, for some reason, he takes us home. And this guy tells me, he's like, the shit that just went down, because he was an older black guy. He was like, the shit that just went down, he was like, that was way uncalled for. He's like, what y'all did was one thing, but the way they reacted was like totally unnecessary. He's like, little man, he was just talking to me. He wasn't saying, oh, it'll be all right. He was like, no, you fucked up.
Yeah. But
he was like, what they did was totally unnecessary. It went above and beyond just protocol. It's like nothing they did was justified. I was like, fuck.
Why didn't he say something?
He's just a truant officer. He was just a guy to make sure kids stay in school, that type of shit. It's like a truant officer is like
I know what truancy is.
They're not police officers,
they're
but
not.
they're like,
they dress like one, but
yeah, that type of shit.
Yeah.
So
we have those here too.
I was just like, what the? Because I was just, my thing was just like, this is intense.
It sounds like intense.
I was like, this is crazy. I remember one time.
Wild.
I got another story, and then we can change the subject.
No, yeah.
I remember one time I was in San Antonio, and it was just when I just moved to that city, and I was crashing at my boy's place, and I go from his apartment to just like, I don't know, it's not a strip mall, but there's like a ton of fast food places along this area, right? So I'm like, yeah, I just go to Whataburger, whatever the fuck it's just a bunch of them. I was like, I don't know what I want to eat. I just want to eat something, right? No big deal. I'm walking out, and I see the cops down a block, and I was like, okay, something happened down there, right? Not a big deal. It has nothing to do with me, but I saw the cars. I was like, something went down. So I barely get a fucking block. These dudes swarm on me, man. And I'm just like, okay, I know the routine. Just hands up, shut the fuck up, show my ID. These dudes just can't. It's like the amount of aggression they came at me with. I was just like, they was like, where you going? I was like, I'm going over there. Where the fuck is over there? I was like, dude, just get something to eat. More cops come. And these dudes, it's like, they had nothing on me. They didn't tell me what happened, right? And I'm just like, what the fuck? One cop starts drilling me about going to school. And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm a fucking artist. He's like, oh, why don't you go? I was like, I am in school. He's like, I went to school for law. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. What the fuck does that have to do with me? Like, he's like, it's after school special shit. Like, you're threatening my life. Now you're trying to tell me what I should do. And go. I was like, I'm confused. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And this one cop just kept fucking with me. Like, he just wanted me to do something. I was like, nah, man. He was in my face, put the cuffs on me, all this shit. And I was just like, what the fuck is your problem? And he's like, where do you live? I was like, I live right there. Where the fuck is right there? The only apartment complex on the street, dude. Right there. Like, it was, why do you got a different ID? I was like, I just moved here. I haven't been here long enough to get even a resident. I don't have a residence. I haven't been here more than 30 days. Like, all this shit. And it was just like, and then I had a panic attack, right? And then they were like, what's wrong? You on drugs? I was like, no, I ain't on drugs. You motherfucker scared the shit out of me. I started hyperventilating and shit. I was stressed. And they like, sit down. That's when they were like, oh, I'm not the dude they were looking for. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man? It's like, but I know the stories that I'm saying right now, they're nothing, right? They're light compared to like a lot of people who get arrested, they get shot, they get all this shit. Like, the way I grew up with the police, it's always been, this is how you gotta act. You know, I know right now it's like the thing is people seeing all these videos and all this stuff, and these videos are just like, oh, this is fucked up, what's going on? But I'm telling you, man, in the black community, this is just,
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
not a long time. It's always been.
Right.
It's always been. It's never been a time where it wasn't like this. It's always been like this, and it's just something that we get used to, you know.
Yeah.
And the people that don't get used to the cops, I'm like, oh, you a tough guy? You really a tough guy? Because I'll see people get tough, and I'll see people talk shit, and then I'll see people back the fuck down. I remember one time, the funniest time I saw, like, not the funniest time, but a funny interaction I saw with the cops was when I was living in Newark. And it had it because in Newark, Hoboken, New Jersey, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day a week before everybody else for some reason. I don't know the reason.
I don't know why either.
But it's the Saturday before everybody else celebrates it.
Yep.
So Jersey, Jersey people. I don't need to describe that shit.
Nope.
Motherfuckers annoying. So all the college kids, they're trash. And this is back when I had to take the train. So I took the train from, it wasn't Patrick. It was like the New Jersey Transit train. So I take it from New York to Newark where I was living. And that train's packed with people because I had to stop in Hoboken. Packed with people. And the conductor's like, I ain't dealing with this shit today. Like, seriously. He's like collecting tickets. He's like, nah. But he gave him a couple warnings, man. He's like, yo, calm down. Quit all the shit. Or we're gonna call the police. People were just mocking him. People were loud. They were just having a party on the train. And he's like, I ain't tolerating this. I'm telling you right now. We get to Newark, nobody gets off the train. Police come on. Everybody's just like, all that tough shit. And these was big dudes. These was like football player type guys, big guys. all that tough shit, all the bravado, everybody was talking about, all the smack talking, all the making fun of the conductor. Everybody got dead. And I'm just there like smiling, man. I'm like, this shit is hilarious. Because you saw how bitch people get. You know, it's like, they'll talk shit until it's like, nah, you got to deal with the police. And it's like.
I mean, but I feel like that goes both ways. Because the police are only tough because they have the badge and the gun.
Of course.
Take the badge and the gun away. What are they?
They ain't shit.
It goes both ways. So if all of a sudden you had one big-ass dude, one of those football players was like, you know what? Fuck this guy. And he just slaps the shit out of a cop, and the cop doesn't know what to do. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I look at police the same way I look at bouncers.
Oh, fuck bouncers.
But I put them all in the same thing. They're
security
all,
guards are the worst.
Right. They're all dudes.
Fucking doorman.
Right. Who want to, you know, I'm sure plenty of them want to be the good guy and want to help. And they get stuck in doing this shit work or whatever, and it's fine. But there are a lot of people, and you can find videos online all day long of people who, cops, security guards who think they're tough guys, and one day they just mess with the wrong dude who's having a bad day, maybe had one too many whiskeys, and you're like, you know what? Today, I'm going to jail, and I'm going to make sure I fucking earn the reason why I go to jail. Yeah. Do you see the video? This must have been like 2 years ago, where this guy gets pulled over. I think if I remember right, he had a pocket knife clipped to his pocket. He had the tab sticking out. So the cops were trying to arrest him for that. I can't remember if it was in New York. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was New York. Pretty sure it's NYPD because this was some Bronx shit. Okay. And this big ass diesel cop, this black diesel cop, or Hispanic, maybe he's Dominican, was trying to arrest him. And this black guy was like, no, you're not arresting me. You're not arresting me. And the guy goes, yo, I'll fight you for it. Yo, the cop took his gun off, gave it to his partner, who was a small little girl, and they started fucking boxing in the streets. I saw this video. I'm like, yo, is this fucking for real right now? This cop's not even dressed in a uniform. He's like a semi-undercover. He was wearing like shorts and like a NYPD polo. And dude, these guys, I mean, the cops got hands. The cops like beating this dude up. Yeah. But like, this one guy catches him with like 2 good shots, and the cop's like, oh fuck, and the cop like stumbles a little bit. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's gonna fuck this cop up now. I was like, oh shit, because anybody could get caught. And I was like, I found myself rooting for the guy with the pocket knife. I was like, yo, this guy's gonna fuck up this cop. Even if he beats the shit out of this cop, he's still getting arrested. Like, there's no way you beat this fight and the cop's like, all right, good fight, never mind, you good to go.
Or you wind up dead.
Yeah, one of those two things is going to happen. Yeah. And the best part is that the little female cop keeps trying to break up the fight, and the big cop keep pushing her out the way.
You know, that's why they took out, I don't know if it's in all prisons, but most prisons, they took out the weights. Because prisoners were getting too big that the guards couldn't control them. So they was like, you know what? Eliminate all the weights.
Doesn't matter because
there's only like a few certain states or counties, I don't know how it works, where they have weights for the prisoners. Right. The dudes were getting too jacked. They was like, nah, we can't. Like, the dude's arms is bigger than my head. How I'm gonna restrain him?
Think about it. You put these people in a place where they can't do anything. You give them weights. What are they gonna do? They're gonna become fitness professionals, and they're gonna fucking work out because that's all they have to do. Imagine being in prison, and for every single day for 1 hour, you get to go lift weights, and that's all you have to worry about. And then you go back to your room and you read a book. I mean, you look at the shot caller. They were exercising. They didn't have weights in that. Well, they did have weights, but when they were in their cells, they were doing the body weights. They were doing pull-ups, push-ups. They were using each other as ways to lift, like do squats. Yeah, you're never gonna stop people from getting jacked in prison. Not to mention, most of those people they find ways to get steroids in fucking prison.
Yeah, I remember when I was down south, I used to work at a car wash, and the car wash had a lot of ex-cons, right? Guys in a halfway house. So it was like college kids and guys from a halfway house. And these dudes had like at least 10 years each, right? All drugs, federal crime. So these guys, they would all come in with their stories and just share like I mean, they were like really traffickers, drug traffickers, right? Yeah. So they would work there with us and tell us stories. And one guy was like, yeah, man, he's like, when dudes would get big, he was like, all they would do was just eat protein when they're in prison.
Just eat tuna fish?
Well, see, that's the thing. He was like, you only can get certain types of protein. So it's like, yeah, tuna fish, beans. But one guy was like, he's like, they would mix peanut butter with everything. Yeah. And just eat it all the time. And he's like, you can order it. So it's like, if you have money, you get it. And he was like, yeah, they would just make peanut butter out of it. Like, just mix them with whatever they had. And it was like, they would just get bulky. and big, and that's how guys put on the mask. And I was like, shit. He's like, yeah, this was huge, man.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and they're gonna find a way.
Go.
I've only had one, maybe 2 encounters with police, and
have countless.
Yeah, I mean, I've only had 2, and they've been pretty straightforward. I mean, I was raised in a much different circumstance than you were. In Brooklyn, you know, I'm Hispanic, but I'm very white. I'm very light complexion. Most people think I'm Jewish or I'm Italian. So I've got a little bit of the white privilege thing going on. But I've always lived in low income neighborhoods. So I mean, even if you're white and you live in a low income neighborhood, you know, you can
shit happens.
Yeah. So I mean, 2 times I've been stopped by the police, and at the height of the stop and frisk epidemic, I guess you can call it. I may have told this story on the podcast before. I'm not sure if I have or not, but I had one cop stop me. I was in like a suit. I was coming from work. I was like dressed up. I wasn't like wearing anything weird or that would call attention. And an unmarked car pulls up next to me, and I was like, "Let me see your ID." I'm like, "Let me see your ID. Who are you?" And he pulls out his badge. These guys in there pull out their badge. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I give him my ID. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, home. He's like, is this address current on your ID? I'm like, yeah, it's this building right here. And he was just being a dick. I'm like, are we done? I took my ID card. I'm like, are we done? Why? What is this? And he's like, well, we're looking for somebody. I'm like, is the person you're looking for dressed like this? I don't understand why you're stopping me.
Yeah.
And he was like, go about your business. I was like, motherfucker, you go about your business, driving a dumbass Impala.
Yeah. When you ask questions, they don't like that.
Yeah. I'm like, what is this about? What are you doing? And then another time was when I was living in Bensonhurst, and I was coming back from jiu-jitsu, and it was right as I started jiu-jitsu, so I was looking all fucked up. I had like sweatpants on, I had sandals, I had a hoodie, I fucking had a bruise on my face, I smelled like vomit, like I just looked like a homeless person. And again, another unmarked car pulls up, and these guys get out, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, there was a robbery a couple blocks away, we need to see your ID. I was like, I didn't rob anybody. I was like, does it look like I got money? And he didn't like that. But he looked at it. He was like, we need to search you. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't consent to the search. And he's like, well, you don't have a right to this. I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm like, what am I under arrest for? Am I under arrest? Am I being detained?
There you go.
So then how can you search me if you're not going to detain me or arrest me? I'm like, you can. I swear to God, I looked at him and I thought he might flip out.
Yeah.
But I was like, you can search me without my consent, but you will hear from my lawyer. And I was like, I will take a photo of your badge, and you will be hearing from me. And he was like, get out of here. I think, and again, it's different because clearly I'm not black. So I don't know how that would have worked out with a black person or a Mexican or
just a lot of aggression
or anybody, or maybe even a Jewish person. Maybe this cop was Irish. They don't like Jews. But I think if you remain calm and you just call them on their bullshit, like, what are we doing here? What is this? What is this? You don't have a right to do that. What's my crime? Tell me. If you're going to arrest me, what's my crime? Explain it to me.
I think the key is, like you said, to remain calm.
Yeah. If you can remain calm, if you can do it in a way where you're not making them feel like they're in trouble or make them feel like they're in danger, you're better off all around. But there are other factors that come into play, like what you look like, what you're wearing, how you talk, how you speak.
It's like I'm 6'3".
Yeah, you're a big dude.
I'm 6'3", 220 pounds.
They were all bigger than me, which is makes them feel better because they're like, oh, well, if we have to physically restrain this guy, we can. But if I was like our friend Leo, and I got mouthy, they might get a little scared.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm 6'3", 220 pounds, black, and with tattoos.
I'm heavier than you, by the way. I went to the doctor yesterday. I'm 230 pounds.
Shit. So it's like I can understand when people come, because people come at me with aggression a lot, and I always tell people, I always say to them, like, yo man, I'm not your enemy. You know, just look at me like puzzled, because I'm like, just your aggression, I can see it, and you only have this aggression because you're intimidated because I'm fucking bigger than you.
Yep.
But I'm not an aggressive guy. I mean, I can be when I need to be.
If you have to be.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna just be aggressive to somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what's up? What the fuck? I'm like, yo, calm down, dude. I just said what's up. Calm the fuck down. You don't want to hear I choke the shit out of you. You don't want to do that.
That's the thing that I think bothers me the most about this whole idea of a police officer. Like, I know plenty of great cops who are not assholes, at least in the personal way I know them. I don't know how they are on the job. But this whole idea that these cops, and I get it, the job's difficult. You encounter fucked up shit every day, but I feel like they have to be able to judge every case on its own.
Yeah, but they don't.
They don't. And this idea that they have to be the tough thing, they have to be the initiator of aggression. And I'm just like, man, if the only reason why people are submissive to police is because they have the gun strapped to them. I feel like if you put those, especially in New York City, because these cops know very, very few, they're ever going to encounter very few people that will have a gun on them. Like when they do,
it's very rare.
Right, but they usually know when they're going into a situation where they probably will encounter somebody who's armed. But like if they just stop a dude on the street, like out here, I mean the likelihood of the person having a gun on them, real low. But like if you go to a state where there's guns everywhere, like, and you're just fucking around with, just a dude on a bad day, and that dude's just like, you know what, fuck it. Like that video of the cop who pulled over the Vietnam vet or whatever. Have you seen that?
The truck.
Yeah, and the guy just pulls out an AK and just unloads on this cop. Yeah. Like, that shit, like, I don't think the cop deserved that. I don't think that was called for, but, like, shit like that can happen.
Yep.
So, I get why they need to be aggressive, but, like, you can push somebody who's having a bad day, and they can just be like, fuck it. If I die, I die.
Mess with the wrong person.
It's fucking one of those things. Just I don't know. And it's just the complexity of the whole psychology behind a person who has that job and has to deal with that stuff, and the excuses they make for their behavior is very interesting to me.
It's just like in jiu-jitsu when someone's like overly aggressive towards me. I'm just like,
It's because you're big. Yeah. You always have to be more aggressive towards the bigger person.
I'll let them do it, and I'll submit them. But I'm like, I can see what you're doing.
Right. I think the more when it comes to, again, even with potentially violent confrontation, or when it's gone violent and you're in the throes of violence, the calmer you remain, the better you are off. The more likely that you'll leave from that situation mostly intact. Because if you can remain calm under that kind of stress of being attacked or in a fight, then you're already one step ahead of fixing.
I saw this thing one time that made me laugh. It was like outside of Madison Square Garden, like Penn Station, and it's like drunk people fighting, right? Jersey crowd. And one guy who, I think he was the guy who started it, was the calmer one. But the guy who was like getting his ass beat was the more aggressive one. And guess who the cops attacked when they came?
The calm one?
No, the aggressive one.
Really?
The cop charged him, man. Like literally just pulls out, the car pulls up. He gets out, just runs at the guy. Just like almost like a double leg, but he just rams him, knocks the guy down, boom. And it's funny because it was like he wasn't the one who started it. He was just the one who was more aggressive. And it was like, yeah, the other dude was calm, but he started the shit, right? And it was like the cops don't know. They're just gonna go at the guy who's acting like the maniac. It's like, yeah, stayed calm, shut the fuck up.
That sucks for that guy.
It hit him hard too, and he went straight to because they weren't on the street. They were like right on I guess the
curb.
They weren't on a sidewalk. They were on a like curb to the street, that area.
Okay.
Where cars pull over and park.
Yeah.
It was just like drunk people. But right. Man, he hit him hard.
Damn.
I was like, yeah, you're gonna feel that in the morning.
All right, so we've been talking about cops for quite a bit.
Yep.
40 minutes to be exact. Let's talk about the potential lake that is found on Mars.
What do you mean? When there's water, there's life, and there's no life on Mars, so why is there water?
Well, they found a potential lake that's still liquid under the southern polar ice caps of Mars. As you may or may not know, Smalls is our resident space guy. He loves space, and he loves Mars, and he loves all things in the universe. So I wanted
and the occult.
And the occult. So what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you have very strong opinions on the whole space and Mars thing.
I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it again, because it seems to be a recurring theme for this entire podcast and since November of 2017. Nobody seems to listen to me, though, but I'm going to say it again. The next thing is going to be aliens.
Oh, damn.
I've said it before. It's a Facebook post. I put FEMA camps. I said I was going to see you on FEMA camps. And then I was like, next big thing is going to be aliens. And for the past year, I've been saying that we live in a fucking science fiction flick. The first 15 minutes of a bad science fiction movie. That's where we're living. We got AI robots. We got people traveling to space and back. We got people trying to live on Mars in the next couple of years. We got people. Time magazine said that we're going to be living on the moon in the next 8 years and more. There's a space race again after like what 30 fucking years of not doing anything in space but sending up rockets. Now all of a sudden we can sit here and go back to the moon after we lost this technology of going to the moon. Like seriously. So Trump becomes president.
Space Force.
Space Force.
Space Force.
Like, don't you find that a strange coincidence that all of this stuff is happening so rapidly when nothing was happening for the past 30 years? Was it 30 years or was it less?
Should be about 30 years.
I'm just saying 30 years.
Yep. I mean,
tell me if I'm right or wrong, man.
No, I'm on the same.
It is like a
with you,
domino effect.
But Mars.
It's like that's what I'm talking about. It's one thing after another. It's like a domino. And it's like, dude, seriously?
They're going to find life on Mars because there's
seriously?
Water. Yep.
It's like, oh, for years. There's like, here's the thing. And remind you, you know me. I've been into this stuff for a long time. So I can remember certain aspects of my life where stories have came out and they get so-called debunked, right? People were like, oh, there's no atmosphere on Mars. And then I read an article that was like, yeah, there's an atmosphere on Mars, right? There's blue skies, all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. But for a while, we saw pictures with no color. Mars was dry. Next thing you know, we're seeing pictures with blue skies and atmospheres. I'm like, oh, wow, this is funny, right? We're seeing, like, images of, like, canals where dried up riverbeds and lakes were and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, okay. Fast forward a few more years, right? It was like, oh, well, there was life on Mars that crashed into the Antarctic, right? Meteorites. And that was a big too, because they were like, well, technically it shows microbial life. So that's life from Mars that crashed. That was a humongous story, right? A real story. And then now you got, oh, well, we found water on Mars. Well, everybody knows that
not just water, a whole damn lake.
When there's water, there's life.
Yep.
Right?
So why are they gonna find there?
So I'm like, come on, man. It's like they're spoon feeding this information. It's like, take a step back forget all your beliefs for a second. Take a step back and look at everything that science has put out in the past year regarding space. Now, this is not even talk about the Goldilocks zone, right? Goldilocks zone, that's a whole nother subject, but that was fascinating when they discovered that, like habitable planets, right? Planets 4 times the size of Earth. A habitable planet 4 times the size of Earth. That's insane. But it's out there, right? I saw one video.
Allegedly.
No, it's out there. It's a real thing.
You sure it's not a government conspiracy?
No, it's a real thing. It's a real planet discovered by astronomers. It's out there. It's on record.
But how do you know they're not being paid by the government to be shills?
I don't believe in all that, man. I don't deal with all that.
Sure.
I'm positive.
Okay.
You know, like to sit there and say like there's nothing out there beyond space is just like that's ignorance. To sit there and say like we're the only people in the universe and we're alive on this planet is ignorance. It's like, no, there's stuff bigger than us. There's stuff greater than us. I saw this perfect video one time, and it was like, it makes you feel like your life ain't shit, because it was a chart of all the known planets. Like we have the 9 planets in our solar system, right? But no, there's tons and tons of planets that they charted.
Nibiru?
No, nothing like that. I'm talking about like real I'm talking about serious real planets charted, right? So they start with like all the planets in our solar system, and they line them up one by one, right? And you see the different, and it's supposed to be like to scale. So you see like the different sizes, and it's like what you think the size of Earth is compared to some of the known planets out there. It's like we're a dot compared to the size of some. Now that doesn't mean that all these planets are habitable, no, but just the size alone of these planets is like Earth is a dot compared to some of the sizes, man. It's like. And I was watching. It's like a little video. Just says, like, "Oh, this is such and such. This is such and such." And it's just, and as the video goes on, they'll get bigger. And it's like, whoa, man! Like these things exist, you know. And people think like, "Oh, we're the only ones in existence." I'm like, I'm not that close-minded. I think that's why people love Star Wars so much and they love sci-fi so much because it's like it's endless.
Yep.
But I'm not that close-minded to sit there and say like we're the only ones out here. Like nah, there's a ton of shit out there. But it just makes me question how come in the last couple of years there's been this boom for space. You know what I'm saying? It seems like too much of a coincidence.
It's the next frontier. As
something else is going on.
As technology evolves and the curiosity evolves and we continue to fuck this planet up, the only next phase is that we move off planet.
But we've had the technology before to go to space. So why now? Why now?
Probably more affordable now.
I don't believe so.
Well, it's definitely more affordable in terms of.
But I don't think that's the reason.
I think it's a big reason. It may not be the only reason, but I think private industry has made it more affordable because
I think it's one reason.
NASA fucking uses one rocket once and then they fucking call it a day, whereas SpaceX and Virgin can have the same rocket go up multiple times and reuse the same rocket.
I still don't believe any of the NASA photos though. They just all look fake to me. And I'm not saying they're hiding something. Like I've never said that they're hiding something. I just mean like I don't know why they just constantly put out these fake edited doctored photos where none of them are consistent. Yeah.
I would like to talk to somebody from NASA and bring that up.
I would. It's like I even sent y'all the link to that. There's a website that charts all the satellites in existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the deep space satellites, the ones that are in our orbit, Earth's orbit, right? Where is it? I'm pulling up I wrote it down. Stuffin.space. It's an accurate, real-time satellite map, right? You can pull it up on your laptop right now. And it will show you how many satellites are orbiting Earth. Close proximity to Earth. Not like, because remember we had the conversation about the satellites, and you were like, oh, you can't reflect light off of them because they're too far. Well, these are close. These are in our orbit.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they reflect light, though. It doesn't.
Look at that.
That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. But this isn't just satellites. This is like space junk and shit, right?
And they're all satellites. Not all of them.
All these are satellites?
No. Here's the thing. Not all of those are accurate. I mean, not accurate. Live. Some of them are just old.
Oh, and they're just floating around up there?
They're just still floating in orbit. But look at how many are there. Seriously.
So the blue and I'm guessing the red are no longer in orbit or no longer functioning. Oh, this is a fucking cool website.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So you can see like the blue ones that are deep space ones.
Right.
Right. And there's some that go out further. But look how many are close to Earth.
Right.
In orbit.
Right. But getting back to the whole thing about the light thing, it's light being reflected for sure, but it's also speed. If they're moving fast, which I'm assuming they're moving fairly quickly in space because of the gravitational orbit, then that they're not, even if they are reflecting a little bit of light, they're not going to leave enough light on an exposure so you can see.
Do you see how many satellites are on this chart?
But that is not. But remember, this is all compressed. This is not to scale.
No.
So the distance between these two can be very big. That's the thing. That's my argument. Is like if the satellite is reflecting no light and it's moving quickly, you're for sure not going to see it. If it's reflecting a little bit of light and moving very quickly, you're still not going to see it on a standard exposure.
Okay. So the sun.
Right.
The sun, the Earth.
The ultimate exposure.
These satellites are between the sun and the Earth.
Right.
So light will reflect off those satellites. Agreed?
They should.
Agreed. Because the sun shining on the Earth.
If this, depending on depending on what side it's on.
Exactly. But let's talk about North America.
The side that it is on.
When the sun is up.
Okay. Well,
right?
the sun's always up in space. The Earth is rotating.
From Earth.
Okay.
When the sun is shining on one side of Earth,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Those satellites that are in that vicinity will have reflection. Yes or no?
They should, depending on the size of the satellite.
Fair enough. But they're shining. The sun is shining on this direction. So anything in that direction of the path of the gigantic sun
Sure.
will have some sort of reflection
Light
on
hitting it.
Yes.
I'll grant you that. How fast are they moving?
That I don't know.
Because if you're shooting now, I've never been to space, so I don't know how the exposures would work. I would like to see what the metadata from the cameras are, what the f-stop is, the ISO.
I found the site that did that.
What's that?
Shit. I think I sent it to y'all as well. It was a site that actually had photos of satellites in space, but it was more like the deep space ones.
Oh.
I'm not concerned with, well, I guess that doesn't matter now. What I'm concerned about is like you take a look at this website with all the satellites there.
Right. A lot of satellites.
There has to be a reason. Like your reason makes sense.
I think my reason makes sense photographically
Doesn't make
speaking.
sense.
It's how the cameras work. It's not that they're not there. It's just the cameras can't capture them.
But okay. So they have a live feed from the ISS, right?
Mm-hmm.
That shows Earth. Now that live feed shows a lot of details.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show any blips moving across the screen. It doesn't show any stars in space. It doesn't show. It's like it shows certain things, but it doesn't show everything. And I'm like, that's a problem.
I think a lot of it is because of the way the light travels.
Maybe not.
Because in that entire area,
That's a hypothesis.
Right, but in the entire area, what's the brightest thing in that area? It's gonna be the Earth.
Yeah, but the sun is shining in that path.
Right, but
everything in that path should have some sort of reflection.
Right, except that we're closer to the Earth than we are to the sun if you're on the ISS. So the brightness of the Earth is what's gonna be giving you your exposure.
Can you pull that up?
Pull what up?
The ISS feed.
Do you know the thing for that?
That I don't know.
Let's see here. Pulling up.
That was a Japanese website, right?
I don't know.
They have a live stream. No, it's not NASA.
Looking for high definition views. Sure. Watch on Ustream. Okay, we're loading up. Okay, we're looking at the International Space Station.
That's some props from Appleseed. Bad CGI.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is live. Nothing's moving. It's in space. Let me see here. 7 hours ago. Let's look at that. What the fuck was that? Oh, that's gnarly. Okay, so would you be wondering why you don't see any satellites flying around over here?
No. Well, first of all, what are we looking at?
First off, it looks like we're looking at a piece of the ISS.
Well, that I know.
Earth, the sun coming from that way over to the left, coming right over the top of Earth, or whatever that is of Earth.
Yeah, whatever. Is that Earth or is that the moon? Or
that should be Earth. If that's the moon, they are freakishly close to the moon. I'm pretty sure that's Earth. Yeah. So, from looking at something like this, I'm gonna assume that there's satellites all over there. There has to be from that map, right? But the reason why you wouldn't see satellites from there is because the distance is so far from the camera to wherever those are. There's not enough light reaching between the camera sensor and the actual thing there to even expose it. It'd have to be like really bright. It's the same reason why if you go outside right now, if we go outside right now, even though there's street lamps everywhere, if you go stand at the entrance to the park, which is not very far, and I take a photo, I won't be able to see you because there's not enough light over there for my camera to pick you up.
Okay.
But if you were close, if there was a satellite right here, you would for sure see it because it's closer. There's more light on it relative to the camera. So you would see it. That's the easiest way I can explain it. It's not that just because it's not there doesn't mean they don't exist. It's the same premise with aliens. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I'm not talking about aliens.
But it's the same idea.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you don't see it. It's still probably there.
Probably.
Yeah, they're still probably there. It's just the technology. I mean, camera sensors are camera sensors. They're not. It's the same thing with film. It's a matter of how much light. If you don't have enough light, you're not getting anything on the film. That's just, you know. How do we even get on the subject again?
You brung up space.
It's black. It's space. There's not light up. There's not a whole lot of light.
There is. I just don't. Let's take it back to the original topic. There's a big boom in the space industry, especially privatization of space.
Yeah.
You know, there was that interview that the guy gave on CNN. I forgot his name, but I know I sent you the clip.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about the dangers of the privatization of space.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, because whatever you discover out there, it's yours to keep.
Yeah, no, for sure. This website's really cool.
Yep.
Oh, I can zoom in, motherfucker. Look at that.
So zoom in for a second. Now rotate it. No, let me see.
You mean zoom it like that?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So you see how close they are to Earth?
Well, this isn't giving me any kind of.
I'm looking from here.
Oh, from here?
Yeah.
But it's not to scale, so we don't know. So this red one appears very close, but how close is that? It's not very close. If it's in space, it can't be that close.
It's in orbit.
Right, but you can see satellites from Earth. You can see them cross.
See that many?
No, you don't see that many. But how often are you looking up?
I look up a lot.
In New York City, we can barely see anything in New York City.
Smog. But
Right.
I look up a lot. I
But
always look at space.
I bet if you were to go to the observatory, the Keck Observatory in Hawaii, you would and looked up at the sky where there was no light pollution. I bet you would see not only a bajillion stars, but you would see satellites flying across left and right. I think there's way more going up there all the time that we just don't see anymore because of all the light pollution and smog. But I think it was in the Joe Rogan Experience that I heard them talk about that you know, the ancients were so obsessed with the sky because they could see everything so clearly. They can see all this weird shit happening in space, and it freaked them out. And we are ignorant to that because we have all these fucking buildings with lights, and we pollute the sky, and we can't see what's going on above us anymore.
We're not ignorant.
We've forgotten, and we have gotten carried away with police and satellites. Let's wrap this bad boy up. We're over an hour already. That actually went by pretty quick. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for episode 28. Hope we didn't bore you too much. We had a good time. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Chico and the Grin, Facebook.
We didn't talk about Purge.
Fudge. We'll talk about the Purge in episode... Do you want to talk about the Purge now?
No.
Okay. We'll talk about the Purge in episode 29. We may touch on the Equalizer, moon in front of the Earth.
Does that look real?
No, that looks fake as fuck. Fair enough. Point taken, Smalls. I can't even argue with that. That looks super fake. That looks real. That looks realer than the other one. Chico and the Grin on Gmail, gmail.com. Email us. Let us know what you think. That looks like something out of a fucking Michael Bay movie. Sorry. Smalls keeps showing me all these photos from space that either look semi-real or completely fake. That sort of looks real.
You know what the article's called?
What's it called?
These 10 space images look unbelievable, but are actually real.
I'll have to look at that later. Make up my own damn mind. But, ladies and gentlemen, please leave us a review on iTunes or Google Play. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you think you know somebody who would enjoy the podcast, please feel free to share it with them. Every comment, review, share helps. Write in. Let us know what you think. Chico and the Grin at gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at _Steven Gomez, and you can find Mr. Smalls on Instagram at
Art by Smalls.
Art by Smalls. And you can also find his website at johnsmalls.com.
I'm no longer using that. I'm only using artbysmalls.com.
You can find him at artbysmalls.com. So, yeah, let us know. Thank you for joining us for episode 28. Of course, we appreciate your listenership, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.